What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. We have Shreyas alongside me, who has been absolutely dying in the heat in India. We always give a bit of a weather update when we're on
Yeah,
here, Shreyas, just because we're
yeah,
gobsmacked how warm it is. But in actual fact, I'll
yeah.
let you tell, how warm has it been in India recently?
I mean, okay, I'll just say it like this. This bottle, before I came on just sat here. It was until here. I came back from outside, and it's already halfway down.
Oh my
It
God.
it was just outside. The water is evaporated. That's what I'm trying
Oh,
to say.
really?
Yeah,
Oh my God. So, like, degrees wise, I know people are tuning in. They're like, "What the fuck's going on? This ain't the weather." We want to talk about, football and stuff. We're gonna get into that. Don't worry. But what's the hottest it's been so far in the past couple of
52,
weeks?
52.2 degrees.
52 degrees,
Yeah,
5-2. That is, yeah.
yeah. So like if I'm at work, I'm luckily in the air conditioning the whole day. But when I have to come out of there, at around 6:30, and then the heat wave just comes at my face. It is absolutely horrible. Like genuinely, it's absolutely horrible.
And there's not no breeze or wind or anything. Is it
Oh
just
no, the
pure?
the breeze and wind is there, but even that is warm.
Oh, so yes, it's a hot
Yeah,
breeze on. Oh, that is
exactly my point.
horrible. Oh
Yeah,
my
so
God.
you're already pretty much living in like 42 or 44 degrees at night as well. So even when you're going out then, and it's just heat and it's hot waves and it is, just warm breeze throughout the whole day, it becomes very, very challenging
Yeah.
just to travel around.
Oh, but I fucking bet. Well, anyone who's been on holiday, they've been in 30 to 35-degree heat. They're like, thank God we got a fucking pool. You're talking almost twice that. It is quite literally almost
Yeah.
double that. So I can't imagine. Muting myself there. I got a bit too
Yeah.
excited. Thoughts and prayers go out to people in India anyway, because my God, that sounds absolutely hot as fuck.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of hot as fuck, transfers, there's a lot of hot players on the market. I don't mean hot in terms of looking wise, I mean hot in
Of
terms
course,
of
of course,
a lot
of
of clubs
course.
want the service. Joao Neves, apparently we've had a bid rejected for him. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Sesko deal is still on, even though there's a lot of reports suggesting that he may go to Arsenal, but United's still interested apparently. We've got a new chief communications officer, which if anyone gives a fuck, we'll dive into that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amrabat wants to stay at Manchester United, and his brother also put something out about Casemiro yesterday, which I thought
Casemiro.
was
Yeah.
interesting. And Amari Forson is going to leave on a free as well. And we've got something towards the end. So this is quite literally a jam-packed news show. Shreyas, if you need to take any water breaks whilst we're live, then
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good for the show now.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Wow, I might need a water break myself. If there's anyone in the chat, let us know your thoughts and feelings as we go through these news stories, because there's quite a bit on transfers, which everybody loves. Everyone loves transfers, so
Yeah,
we'll
of course.
absolutely dive into it. So, Joao Neves, Shreyas, apparently
Yeah.
United have had a £51 million bid rejected, same degrees as it is in India, 51.
Yeah.
Bid rejected for Joao Neves. They want at least 85 million, apparently, which is a lot of fucking money. In my opinion, he would be my top target. When I did the video for how United could line up next season, he was like one of the number one targets. I think he's top level, and I think we need that kind of player alongside Kobe Mainu. What are your thoughts on João Neves? How much would you pay for him? Would he be one of your, let's say, top 3 targets as well?
I think when you look at that midfield, I think he's someone who would be considered your top priority when it comes to the profile of players that you want to bring into that midfield. Because once again, just like Menu, he's someone who can play as the 8. He can also function quite well as a 6. And his on the ball ability, being an 18-year-old, it's absolutely elite.
Yeah.
And his potential is genuinely through the ceiling. With Benfica, it's genuinely going to be hard to negotiate a fee because I think last season they just sold Enzo Fernandez for about 120 or 125 million to Chelsea. So they're going to be, banking on United actually paying at least 75 or 80 million for Joao Neves. But
100%.
if I, don't look at the money and I just look at the player and what he could bring into our team, I think the efficiency that he could bring into that midfield, as an 18-year-old, he's quite, his physical build is actually quite decent enough for him to adapt to the Premier League as well. And I think Menu needs someone who can take that pressure off him because with his feet, his technical ability, and the way he's able to distribute the ball around as well. His range is quite well when it comes to distributing the ball around, and he has played in quite a makeshift midfield at Benfica because this season Benfica's midfield has been quite turbulent. I think even I think it's just Joao Neves and Kokchu, another player that they signed this season that have been pure starters every single game for them. But Joao Neves, I think definitely is someone who we definitely need to look at, because once again, he's one of those players. If we miss out on him this season, next season he's going to be going probably to a bigger club or for even bigger money. Because right now we might be looking at, after negotiations, maybe a 70 or 75 million signing for Joao Neves. Next season it's going to go up by at least 30 or 40 million again. And I think with these players we need to we need to act a lot quicker, because when clubs like Madrid, when clubs like Bayern Munich and these sort of clubs actually come into the running, and we need to actually, be in a running with them, it becomes quite tough for players to be attracted to Man United. But I think John Neves as a player, he's top quality. And just looking at it for, with the perspective of this being a new season, I think a midfield with Menu and Neves being our
Oh,
pivots and Bruno being allowed to operate as the 10, it actually, one thing that we've been crying out loud since last season is our midfield is imbalanced. Our midfield is imbalanced. There is no stability in the midfield. I think Menu and Neves as the double pivots, they bring a lot of stability to the midfield.
yeah.
So as a player, he's top quality, no doubt about it. But the fee is definitely something that Benfica will be trying to get as much as they can out of him.
Because they know they can ask for it, innit? I think
Of course.
with Darwin Núñez, for example, they got 80 million, didn't they, off of Liverpool, 80 million euros, whatever it
Yeah,
was. You mentioned Enzo Fernandez there as well. Like, they've sold a lot of talent for a high price, and they'll be stubborn with it. I think what you mentioned about Menu and Neves together, the balance in that. I said to Sam yesterday, we need someone like an N'Golo Kante alongside Menu who can, pick up the pieces, great at intercepting the ball,
exactly.
great tackler. And Joao Neves, for all his ability on the ball, is also like right up there in Europe in terms of ball winning abilities. You look at any of his metrics, he's like probably why Benfica are demanding so much, because they know how much of a talent he is and his potential. But you look at the budget that we've got, and we're going to discuss a couple of the other players in a minute. It's just, I keep asking this question, Shreyas. I don't know where this money's coming from for all these targets. They're talking about two
Yeah,
centre backs, a left
because
back, a midfielder, a striker, and a winger.
yeah, it's too many positions. And before the season actually ended as well, what I've been hearing around has always been that United only have 34 million in the bank to spend. So and when you look at the areas that we need to actually focus on, you've got at least 5 areas in that starting 11
Mm,
itself, that you need to actually look into and go, we need some big signings. And we need not just signings in the starting 11, we need signings on the bench itself as well, to actually
yeah.
move into next season with full force. And I think what makes it worse, is that we don't really know who the manager is even going to be next season right now. So
How
it's
do you recruit
every
players if you don't know who the
exactly my
manager
point.
is?
So because when I heard it, this morning, that United have put in a bid of 51 million for John Neves, one thing I had in my mind is, where is the money coming from, of course. And what is the idea behind actually going in for him, because we still don't know who the manager is going to be. Maybe
Yeah.
the manager who's going in next season doesn't need that sort of midfield facilitator in the squad. Maybe just need a different body, or a different profile in midfield. So I just don't know in which direction it's heading. Maybe Ineos already have maybe Ten Hag is continuing, or maybe they have another choice in their head already figured out, that this guy is going to be coming in. So the thing is, there is a lot of unclarity at the moment around
Mm.
the club. It makes it a lot more difficult. It's all up to speculation.
Just to park the conversation that for a moment, because something's just sparked in my brain. I saw actually a tweet very late last night from the Muppeteers saying it's very likely that Ten Hag is going to go. Now, I would, James from Muppeteers is pretty bang on with a lot of the stuff that he says. So I would keep an eye on that. And I also keep an eye on some players that haven't even been mentioned in the press, because a lot of our targets and a lot of the managers as well. This is something something else that James mentioned. He said it might not necessarily be the obvious one that we're all talking about. Like a Tuchel or a Frank or a Poch. It could be someone who is kind of like a Southgate or a Zerbi, effectively. And I think a similar thing could happen with the player targets as well. It might be you
Yeah,
might go get a kid from fucking South America who no one's ever heard of before in midfield. Do you know what I
exactly my
mean?
point. Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I feel like the whole kind of policy going into the summer is going to change slightly, and the landscape's going to change. I think it'd be interesting to see who they go for. We're going to talk about Benjamin Sesko in a minute. I just want to get some comments. Some people have been put in. Sean saying, "Damn, that's even hotter than Bangkok." Exactly, mate.
Oh
Exactly.
yeah, it is always hotter than that. It is
Yeah.
always hotter than there in the summer.
Yeah. Sean is also saying we have to structure a deal for Joao Neves, next level talent. Dino Lewis saying 60 million, sell Casemiro, Ericsson and McTominay, use the money for him and Amrabat. Very well.
Yeah.
According to reports, I don't know if you saw him, Shreyas, Casemiro to Saudi, fucking 80 million. I don't know where they're getting that from.
Yeah.
Not a chance. If we get that money for him,
Cristiano
that's
is trying to make trying to make
oh
him come there, and they're ready to offload like 80 or 90 million for him. So what
crazy.
works for us?
Absolutely crazy. Richard's saying, afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you, Richard. I hope you're good, mate. If we buy Neves, the pants are coming off and the sausage rolls will be flowing. Okay. Sean's very excited about that one. Random guys also in the chat. Big up to you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Love this community. Seeing regular names in the chat. Kangan saying, Shreyas and Nick back together. I know it's been a hot minute and it's been a hot 25,000 minutes for Shreyas. I'm doing so many segues off the top of my head. It's absolutely amazing. Right, shall we? Random guys just gifted another membership. He's done that consecutively now for about 6 shows, I'm going to say. What an absolute legend. Just to let you know, before I went live, actually, I was editing the last bits of that 115 charges video. So that will drop. I promise you it'll drop very, very soon. So just keep an eye out for that. But John James was gifted a membership by Random Guy. So yeah, you're a legend, Random Guy. You already know that, sir. Okay, Sesko, Shreyas. Benjamin Sesko has been watched closely. This is coming from Mark Critchler from The Athletic. Benjamin Sesko has been watched closely by Manchester United since he was a youngster, and remains of interest. Although stiff competition is expected for his signature this summer, we know Arsenal are pushing for him. They seem like favourites at the moment, which would absolutely break my heart. But the narrative with this one is a lot of people saying he's too similar to Højlund. What are your thoughts on that?
In one angle, you can say so, that he is quite similar to Højlund, because when you look at his strengths and Højlund's strengths, a lot of them do match. One thing about them that is different is Sesko, he's much more adept at actually, taking care of himself when it comes to physical battles. When he comes up against those sort of centre backs, that like to project their physicality in a game, he's able to cope up with it quite better. When it comes to Højlund, he is decent, but
we've
he
seen him
does struggle
in certain games,
exactly.
haven't we?
I still remember that Bayern game where he was up against Kim
Upamecano,
Min-jae and
Kim Min-jae.
Upamecano, and he didn't really have a good outing. And there have
Van
been other
Dijk,
games as well.
Kanate
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
He struggled
yeah.
against.
So there are games where there are angles to his game where he does struggle, and there are angles to his game where he needs to work on, and those are angles where Sesko does have an edge over him.
Yeah.
But apart from that, they are quite similar when it comes to their playing style. But one thing about them is that both of them are pure nines, and United right now need that in their locker room. That you need to have those two pure nines and at your disposal. With Sesko, once again, if Arsenal are going to be in the running for him, it's going to be very difficult for us to actually lure him in at United. And apart from that, I've heard a lot of rumors that AC Milan are actually quite strongly linked with him as well, because they want to make their replacement for Giroud. So it's going to be very, very tough to actually get Sesko in, considering the fact that if we go in for him and a 40 million bid has already been rejected, he'll at least go for about 50 or 60 at least.
Yeah.
So I don't think that United right now are in a position where they can offload that sort of money in just one position itself, especially for one where they don't even need someone who's going to be starting week in and week out. They need someone who can be backup to Højlund. And if Sesko does come to United, I don't think that he'll be coming in with the thinking that I'll be on the bench and I'm going to wait for my opportunity and compete with Højlund. He's going to be coming in. He wants to be a starter, and I think that's what Arsenal and Milan right now can actually offer him, a starting position in their setups. But United cannot offer that right now.
I think £40 million for him is an absolute steal. I think he's going to be a top player wherever he goes. But maybe people are right with the narrative. I'd love to hear what everybody else is thinking. So let me know. Benjamin Sesko in the chat. Yes or no? Are you a fan of him? Or what? More to the point, what's a better question is, what kind style of striker would you prefer to go for? What is your preference? Do you want more of a target man? Do you want something who can run in behind? Do you want a bit of a hybrid? What kind of age profile do you want? Just give us a little bit of a list there in the comments, and we'll get into them in a moment. Something that's interesting, and I'm sure Aaron, if you're listening, would be very interested in this. Sky Sports News put something out before that Roma forward Paulo Dybala is open to a move to the Premier League this summer. It's thought he has a €12 million release clause in his contract. The clause is valid until the 31st of July, and Dybala has entered the final year of his Roma contract. Would you look at that deal?
Of course.
Yeah.
I really like Paulo Dybala, and considering he is someone who can be used in a variety of positions in this setup. He can be used as a right winger. He can be quite he can be used as that creative winger. He can be used as a 10 in certain games. He can be used as a false nine. He can actually be used up as a striker as well. And apart from that, he's someone Hoyland can actually learn off from quite a lot, because
Yeah.
Dybala, he has a lot of intelligence. He's able to scan his area around the box quite well, and his positioning is actually quite decent. And considering the fact that you can actually use them both together in the same lineup itself, like for example, you can have a front three of Rashford, Hoyland, and then Dybala playing off from the right hand side, or in set games when Bruno demands a rest, you can play him behind Hoyland,
Yeah.
and that setup can actually work quite decently as well. Plus, the thing with Dybala is, even if it doesn't work out, it won't be as much of a loss, because it's only going to be a 12 or 13 million pound transfer. It's not going to be an insane amount like
But
60 million or 70 million.
his
Yeah.
wages would be something that I would throw in there
I
because
think
is
Ineos
he
are
going to
going to.
want
I
a
think,
big contract, Shreyas?
of course, I think that depends on the player, because in when it comes to Ineos, I think one thing is going to be quite certain, that we're not going to be paying 300,000 grand per week, or we're not going to be paying those amount of insane wages. If he does come, I do see him being one of the top owners for sure, but I don't think it will be something absolutely insane like what we offered Varane or what we offered
Yeah.
Casemiro. I think there will be a limit as to what we are going to be offering players. But I think Dybala is someone who you can bank on.
Yeah, I think Amrabat, let's say, I'm going to talk about Amrabat in a moment, but let's say 30 million quid, euros, whatever it is. Someone like a Dybala, like, it's such a low risk, and we need squad depth at the same time. I mean, I wouldn't be against it, to be honest with you. I really wouldn't. We've got 29 people in the chat. Make sure you smash a like on the video and hit that subscribe button. We're 9 subs off 5,300. So if we can hit that whilst we're live, that'd be absolutely incredible. I know quite a lot of you are already members in the chat and you're already subscribed, so I really appreciate that, guys. And yeah, let us know your thoughts. Dybala, Sesko, Joao Neves, any of them for your taking. Would you, like we said on the post that we put out, take your pick. Which ones would you go for? What kind of style of player do you want? Now we're gonna go on to something slightly different. In fact, I might go into Amrabat first, and then we can talk about a certain new member of staff coming in. Yeah, we'll talk about Amrabat because we mentioned him there, Shreyas. Apparently, he'd like to stay at Manchester United. So this coming out from Andy Mitten, who everyone knows, top journalist. Saying Sofian Amrabat would like to stay at United, especially having shown the fans the player he can be in the last month of the season. He likes living in Manchester and feels like the group of players is a good one without the edge of he experienced at other clubs. Amrabat had 8 offers from clubs in England, Italy, Spain, and Saudi Arabia. One club was a major rival, that was Liverpool, we all know that. And he spoke to their manager, but he held off since he was waiting for United to make an offer. He chose Man United, and he wants to stay. We've got to keep him, haven't we? You look at what he was doing to all. I know if we would have asked this question in January, both of us probably would have said first class back to Fiorentina, not even bothered. But from what you saw in the Newcastle,
Look, yeah,
in the Arsenal, and then the
Arsenal
FA
game
Cup
and the
final,
final as well. Yeah, yeah. I think definitely, and considering the fact, look, if he comes in, he doesn't necessarily even need to be a starter for us. He is absolutely going to be okay if you're going to be even using him as an option for a squad player. And apart from that, for for the price that is being mentioned around right now for Sofian Amrabat, I think it's going to be a steal. And United, once again, I keep on saying it every single time, United don't have a lot of cash to spend around in this window. We've got a lot of players leaving, especially in that midfield, and
yeah,
we're going to have to strengthen in that aspect. And Amrabat, for if we're going to be getting him in for like 15 million, I think he's going to be a very decent option to use off from the bench, because right now the biggest problem that we have in games is you get to a point in set games, you need to close the game down, and when you look at our bench, the only option you've got to bring off is Ericsson.
yeah,
And for those 30 minutes or 25 minutes, it becomes quite nervous, because the biggest problem with Ericsson is not that he's not a good player. He's quite creative. He still has a lot of good aspects to his game, but his legs are gone. He's
yeah,
not able to track back in time. His positioning is off, and there is a lot of in this system with that Ten Hag plays. That person who plays in the 8 and the 10, they need to cover a lot of ground. That's why Bruno covers a lot of ground, and that's why when Menu is playing in that midfield as well, he covers a lot of ground. Ericsson is not able to do that task. But probably if you bring on someone like an Amrabat, he can offer much more stability. He can offer much more
yeah.
solidification into that midfield. So I think you need to go in for Amrabat right now, because once again, he has shown that he can do it in not just set games, but the biggest games of them all.
Yeah.
In the final against Manchester City, he was absolutely amazing. The
Against
way
the
he
best talents in the world.
exactly, because he was able to play against the likes of De Bruyne, Silva, and Rodri in midfield,
And
and then
Foden
after
chopping him.
and Ford, yeah. And
Like,
apart from that, in that game, then Doku was brought on, and he absolutely clamped Doku in that game
yeah,
as well.
yeah,
So I'm quite impressed with Amrabat, and competition for places and everything goes side by side. We need that sort of a player on
yeah.
our bench, because you cannot go into the next season expecting Menu in midfield to just keep doing every single game, every single game, every single game. He's still a very, very young player. You need that sort of experience, you need that sort of professionalism in the team as well. So I think Amrabat is someone you can go for, because the price that is being quoted around for him, he's going to be a steal signing once again for 15 million. I think you should go for him.
That's what I'm saying. If we don't get him, someone else is definitely going to go and buy him 100 and add them, because there will be clubs looking at that right now. 13 million, they'd be like, oh my god, 100%, or even at 15, or even if you take the gamble. He's only 27 years old. He's not even technically in his prime yet. So yeah, I think they'd be stupid not to. Genuinely, I think they would. So we'll see what happens with that. There was something else on Amrabat as well. More of his brother who came out yesterday in an interview and mentioned Casemiro. Not if you've seen this. So in the final,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen it.
apparently he was injured, but he wasn't because he didn't get picked. He chose to sit in the stands.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Because that seems a bit. Do you think? So more. Let me ask this question actually. Do you think that Casemiro's thinking in his head, look, you've played me at centre back and threw me under a bus a little bit because there's been no one else available, and I've stepped up and done it, and I've been crucified for the past couple of weeks. I've done that job for you, and then when it gets to the biggest game of the season, you drop me. Do you think that's probably why he's pissed off?
I think it could be because, once again, look, Casemiro has been one of the most heavily scrutinized players from Manchester United this
Yeah,
season, and he has been left out to dry on a lot of occasions. That he's quite too old. He's still not able to. He cannot do that job week in and week out in the Premier League. And I still remember that there was this one game where he was playing at centre back. Then the changes were made. He shifted, into the CDM position. The moment he switched on there, made a pass, and we got a goal. I
was
think it
it
was the Brighton
Newcastle
game.
or Brighton? Yeah,
Newcastle or Brighton. Yeah, I think
yeah,
it was
yeah.
one of those games.
I
And
remember.
the moment he switched into that sixth position, once again, you could see Casemiro playing a lot more freely in that game. I still think, personally, I really wouldn't want him to go. I think Casemiro still even if you cannot play him week in and week out, even if his level has dropped in comparison to what we got when he just came in, he still has got a lot more to offer.
Yeah,
The experience, winning 5 Champions Leagues, doing it at the biggest stages of them all. You need them sort of players, in the biggest pressure situations. And the fact that United is, we've never had those sort of players, who can mentor these youngsters into the team, who can actually learn, people to learn off from. And I think Casemiro is definitely one of those players, because Menu can learn a lot off from them.
yeah,
If we get in someone like a Joao Neves, even he can learn a lot from Casemiro as well. And you need that sort of big presence in the locker room, because we've had a mentality issue at United for quite some time. So having those structured heads in the dressing room as well makes it makes a lot of difference. So personally, I wouldn't let Casemiro go, but I do also understand that if an offer of about 90 million actually comes in from
it's
Saudi,
not. It's
it's
never happening, is it?
yeah,
90
yeah,
million, like it's,
yeah,
and also you got to consider his wages. The guy's on
exactly,
£350,000 a week.
exactly my point.
As much as I absolutely agree with you, and I've mentioned it in previous videos before, that I think what he gives to people in the dressing room as well, people don't see that. They just see his performances on the pitch. It's like, yeah. But he would have been so important for Manu the season just
Of
gone
course,
by. And just everyone around him, him and Varane, look at what they've won. You would like to think they're the figureheads. Now, both of them going, that's quite significant,
it's
isn't
going
it?
to be very difficult to replace both of them in one window itself,
Exactly.
because you need an out and out six, you need an out and
Yeah.
out centre back to replace someone like Varane, because I agree Varane has a lot of injury concerns
Mm,
and everything. But one thing with Varane has always been that when he's been available, he's been absolutely amazing for United
yeah.
whenever he's played for us.
And also as well, I was doing a bit on Kobe Mainu, and he'd done an interview with like a fashion magazine, and he actually mentioned in the interview, he said the best piece of advice I've ever got was off Rafael Varane, and he was talking about, you know, how to look after your body, invest in your body and
I just need a
health. And
couple minutes. I need to
yeah,
get
go
the
for it,
roast.
mate.
I'll
Go for
just
it.
be
It's
back. I'll
absolutely
just be
fine.
back. Yeah.
No problem. But yeah, he was talking about investing in his health and his body. I'm sure you guys would have known because I was speaking about it yesterday. But Varane is, and these kind of guys are absolutely important. And then that begs the question: how do you replace that? You know, we've already got 6 or 7 targets that we need to go and get anyway. Then you talk about the players that are leaving: Martial, Varane, Eriksen potentially, Casemiro going, probably others that I'm forgetting as well. How do you replace that? It's that's why I keep pushing the question and I keep pushing the narrative. But you guys are as smart as anyone. You know for a fact, you're not stupid. This summer is like probably one of the biggest overalls you're ever going to see. And I'm interested to see how Ineos deal with it. But first, they need to make a decision on the manager, don't they? Let's be honest about that. Right, let's get into the comments section and see what you lovely people are saying. Sean's saying, I want us to have a team with depth where players on the bench are as good as the starters and we can rotate throughout the season without a quality drop-off. We'll definitely sign Dybala. Richard saying, Sesko is too much like Rasmus and I'm sticking with Rasmus. Get Siru Garassi. A very nice shout from, obviously plays in the German league, who Rasmus can learn from, and he's cheap. And that's a great shout, to be fair, Richard. Random guy. Sesko's an amazing striker, but we need a more experienced striker with a different profile than Højlund. Ivan Toney or Xerxes would be more helpful for us. I do think Ineos are going to be looking in the release clause kind of market, because I know Xerxes is it around 35 to 40 million? A release clause. Sesko's got a release clause. Frimpong's got a release clause. Elise has got a release clause. And there's a couple others as well. So I do think Ineos will be looking at them kind of deals 100%. Random guy saying Amrabat's quality. I don't know why Fiorentina didn't want him, and like Sam says, they essentially refused to go on pre-season because he knew there was interest there from Man United. I mean that whole saga in itself. I remember me and Sam was covering the majority of it on the channel during the summer, and they're going back and forth on offering him £1 million for a loan deal for Amrabat. It got really like it's just like, we're United, man. What are you doing? This is like we was moving like, with all due respect, like an Ipswich Town or something. We was like, we'll give you £990,000 for a loan move, and you're just like, fucking go and buy. Just go and get the player, man. It's a loan. We obviously need depth in that area. Like, what are you playing at? Making no sense to me whatsoever. But yeah, obviously, eventually we got him, and I hope we sign him on a permanent. I really do. I want to move on to the next conversation, and I'll get Shreyas' thoughts when he gets back in on this. So Omari Forson is set to leave on a free. Fabrizio Romano reported this last night. I think that's very surprising. It's not very surprising. That's the wrong words to use. But I didn't see it coming, to be honest with you. He had a little stint in the team, didn't he, around the kind of Wolves game when Kobe scored that goal, and he actually played a part in that. I liked the look of it. He's a little bit rough. He had a couple of decent moments. I never really understood why he was getting game time ahead of Ahmad. And then ahead of Palistri sometimes, and then obviously you had the whole kind of conversation around the right wing, didn't you? The dynamic you had. Anthony, why is he starting every single game? Palistri came in, he had a run of games and was like, no, still needs to improve on it, not good enough yet. Forson came into the fold. Everyone's saying, where the fuck is Ahmad? Why is Ahmad not starting? Why is he not playing? Why is he not getting game time? And Ten Hag would always refer to it's injuries, it's this. He's only just come back and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, you've rushed other players back. It never made sense to me personally. Am I absolutely devastated and horrified that they've sold Forson? No, because they've moved on quite a lot of youngsters. If you look at it, Charlie McNeil's gone, Alvaro Fernandez has gone, Charlie Savage went earlier on. And you go through the team, like they're setting the standard at Carrington, and I don't have an issue with that whatsoever. And I wish him the best. I think that's probably where you can leave it with Omari Forson. But I think that right-hand side, just to bring it into the conversation in general, I think you look at it, I'm pretty sure Ineos are probably open to selling Antony, from what I've seen from the reports that I've read. I actually don't think we need... let me just sneeze. Sorry about this. I've sneezed really loud, but I can feel it coming on. I'll keep going until it's going to drop because I feel it. It's just there on the tip. Wait. Sorry about that, people. It is officially hay fever season. Really apologise. Well, I can't. And once I start sneezing, I can't stop. Sorry. Oh, my God. My throat and my nose so itchy. People tuning in live are like, what the fuck's going on here? Oh my god. What a mess. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try and continue. So Forson, I wish you the best. I'm gonna sneeze again. Fucking hell. Bear with me, honestly. Oh my god. Real sneeze talk, mate. Jesus. I'm gonna try again. Anthony can be sold. Can be sold. That's fine. You know, if we can move him on for 30, 40 million quid, fantastic. But Ahmad needs to start. You know, that's why I don't even think the wing is a priority. I don't think we should be spending 60 million. Personally, I like Elise. I promise you I'll get this out. Alright, I think I'm done. I can't remember. Yeah, so, right. We're going to get through this bit, I promise you. Elise, I don't completely understand it. I love him as a player. I think he would add, you know, a huge bit to United. I've never thought it was a priority. Much like people talking about Mason Mount, for example. I don't really get it. I think we've got other positions to kind of fill. And I would also promote Ahmad. I believe in him. I think he's top quality. I would give him a permanent spot on that right-hand side. He's shown towards the back end of the season that he's good enough. So why go and invest and then put him back down? Do you know what I mean? Because if you can't sell Anthony, then what's Ahmad going to do? You know, you have to be sat there and think in his shoes, what's he going to do? You're going to struggle, right? So, yeah. All right, let's go to the comment section. And I'll try and get my bearings back. Casemiro's gone. Neves is the future with Mr. Cobbett. I'd love that, but it's going to cost a lot. Fergie's Golf says we should offer Chelsea Sancho plus 40 million for Cole Palmer. Chelsea ain't never selling Cole Palmer. I would be, well, to be honest, I won't be surprised because the way Chelsea move is just they are stupid, but they would never sell Cole Palmer. I'd love him. Obviously, he's a Manchester United fan as well, I think. His whole family's United fans. He's from Manchester. I'd love Cole Palmer, but I don't ever see that happening. Sean saying, one of the things I love about Bangkok, no more hay fever. Well, yeah, get me on a plane there, because my hay fever, honestly, it's so bad. It's so bad. It's one of those, right? So in the summer, I can't breathe because of the hay fever. I mean, nose is always blocked and my chest is always thing there. And then when it gets to the winter, I'm always full of a cold or a flu or something ridiculous. So in actual fact, I think autumn's probably the only time I can breathe through my nose. I was going through a full packet of tissues on stream. Right, literally. Oh, my God. Right, should we get into the last bit then? I did have this planned. Oh, no, actually, sorry. He's back. He's back. Are you okay?
Yeah, I just had to run downstairs.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to get into this last story before we do the last bit.
Yeah.
So, a new member of staff incoming. Now, I'm not going to expect you to know the depths of this man and, you know, where he started work and his whole kind of journey. But we have to report the news, right? So I'll ask a question on it in a moment. So Toby Craig, formerly of Chelsea and Manchester City, is set to become Manchester United's new chief communications officer. Craig, who worked with incoming CEO Omar Barada at City, will replace the outgoing Ellie Norman. I have to be honest, I had no idea who Ellie Norman was. Craig will report to Barada when he joins United on July the 13th, but he will start his role on Wednesday. Despite the job title remaining the same, it's thought the role has been substantially rescoped, whilst Norman was also tasked with marketing, brand, content, and fan engagement. Craig's focus is likely to surround communications and public affairs. Look, like I said, we don't really know who this guy is, Shreyas, but the main point and the main question I wanted to ask you is, Ineos are really starting to rip up and rebuild at the back, aren't they? You look at the amount of people that are moving on and coming in.
Yeah, they're getting the structure in, and and they're trying to get as many people as possible from there and into the club right now. but I really don't have any clue as to how much of a difference this guy is going to make by coming to the club. But of course, I think they're just with the way they're moving and with the speed that they're moving in, I think they're trying to get as many people as possible in before the start, or I think before the end of this month itself. And in a way, you can look at it from a positive aspect as well, that Ineos are moving quite quick. They're trying to get everything settled before this next season starts, and that's the way it actually should be, because whoever is going to be the manager next season, whoever the players are going to be next season, it creates a stable environment for them at this
Yeah,
club. So
yeah,
in that aspect, you can look at it from positive direction, that they're moving quite quick. They're trying to get things rolling.
yeah. It's nice to see it in action, but they're moving quick on these kind of things. But then you look at the manager situation, it's like, how have you still not made a fucking, you know what I mean? How have you still not made a
Yeah, and
decision?
the
What is
thing is,
going on?
it's only creating unrest. When you look at it from the manager's direction, it's actually only creating unrest, because there are only news coming out that United are in contact with other agents and other managers and other agents and other managers. So it really doesn't, when it look at it from a fan's perspective, who just goes and looks, oh, we have been in contact with this manager's agent.
Yeah.
It just creates the atmosphere that Ten Hag is going to be leaving. And if Ten Hag, I don't think that Ten Hag should be actually let go, especially considering the situations that we are in right now and the kind of position that the squad is in right now as well. I don't think that it's going to be a wise move, and it's not going to settle in quite in a in a good way with the fan base as well.
I think he's gone. I think he's gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll speak more about that towards the end of the week, because I have a feeling something's going to be announced within the next couple of days. But we have currently 36 people in the chat. James, hello. Hope you're doing well. Hit that subscribe button. We're on 5,292, so we're 8 subs off. There's a couple of people in the chat right now who aren't subscribed, so if you can do that, that'd be absolutely amazing. Of course, only if you want to and you enjoy the content. We've got something planned. Now, this is for Shreyas to do, but also you guys can get involved as well. So I'm going to give you a minute on the clock, basically. And what I want you to do is, Shreyas has absolutely no clue about this. What I want you to do is, you've got £150 million to spend this summer. Who do you bring in, and what sales do you make to stretch the budget? Okay, so just bear that in mind. I'll give you a couple of seconds to kind of get your bearings. I'm going to put a timer on the screen. 60 seconds, and then we can go down, and then I'll let you know when the timer finishes, obviously, because you can't see it, Shreyas, because, yeah, you're either behind or you obviously don't have OBS on your screen in front of you, do you? So let me put a timer, and everyone, if you're on an iPad, phone, tablet, computer, or whatever it is, get typing and get ready. I'm going to, as soon as I set the timer, then when the minute finishes, get your answers in if you want to get involved or whatever. So let me put the timer on, and I'll tell you when to go, Shreyas, yeah? So
Yeah.
all right, so go.
Okay. I'll get in Todibo. I'll get in Antonio Silva. I'll let go of Victor Lindelof, and as well as Harry Maguire. On the left back side, I'll let go of either of the options of either Malacia or Shaw, and get in someone like Gutierrez. Then moving into the midfield, I would go in for someone like Guido Rodriguez from Real Betis in that number 6 position. Amrabat to strengthen in that department as well. Maybe offload McTominay and create space for playing time for Mount. Then moving into the attack, I would either get in Dybala or Griezmann as a veteran striker in that setup, and I would actually create the most chunk of that money and go in for Kvaratskhelia on the left hand side.
And you've still got 20 seconds spare, so do you want some random shouts to throw in there as well?
Matheus Cunha, last
Cunha.
vote.
Interesting. Yeah. And that is with 13 seconds still on the clock. Very well done there to Mr. Shreyas. That is like lightning round. Bang, bang, bang. I'm going to do some more stuff of that. Put some very interesting options in there. Cunha is an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think the only thing I would say with that one, and I know it was a random shout, is his price tag. Because Wolves paid, I think it was like 40 to 50 million.
45 million, yeah.
So I'm looking at him like, I don't know. I do like him though. I think his stats. I mean, I did a bit of an in-depth look at him on the news show the other day. I think he's decent. He's only like 25 years old as well.
The thing is, I actually like Cunha a bit more, is because once again, Premier League proven, and on top of that, he can once again, he's a hybrid striker. He can
play on the left,
multiple positions, and the position we are in right now, we need those sort of players who can play multiple positions. We need a centre back who can play right back as well. And I think that's what that is what makes Luke Shaw invaluable to this team, because he not only functions as a left back, he's quite decent off as a centre back as well.
Yeah. A lot of people forget that, don't they? He can play centre back
because
as well.
he is going to be very key when it comes to being an option as that centre back option in that team, because it's not only a situation where he's just a makeshift centre back. He actually is quite decent while playing off as a centre back as
Mm-hmm.
well in this setup. And apart from that, when you look at Pune, he plays left wing, he plays right wing, he plays 10, he plays as the 9 as well. So he can actually help us out a lot more, because going into games, once again, you've got a starting 11. Maybe I think Rashford is going to keep his spot, Hoyland keeps his spot, and probably Ahmad actually plays off from that right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
I am personally more inclined on getting someone from the left, because I think Ahmad or Garnacho can actually make that right wing position their own. I think they've got the talent, and I think you've got two very very good youngsters in that area who can actually do a good decent job for you. And you've also got Anthony on that right wing position. You've already got three players, and I think Ahmad and Garnacho are a lot more promising right now. They've been doing quite decent in that area. Moving over to the left hand side, I think with Rashford, if you bring someone like Kvaratskhelia in, a creative playmaker from the left, because all that we've been saying, we need a creative playmaker on the right. I think Ahmad has the capability of
Yeah.
being that sort of figure for us on the right hand side. Why not move on from to that left hand side? Maybe having the neck to neck competition with Rashford, probably actually elevates his level. We've seen it happen with Luke Shaw as well. The moment someone is able to compete with him on a on a starting 11 basis, his level seems to grow up. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
that happens with Rashford as well.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting dynamic in it. And not long now, 10 days until the window opens. And remember, we're going to have James from the Muppeteers live on the opening day of transfer, when the transfer window opens, sorry.
Yeah.
So make sure you just come and tune in for that 10 days' time. And the Euros start in 10 days' time as well, funnily enough. Sean's put his answers in. He says, in Todibo, Inacio or Yoro, Neves, Elise and Dybala. Out, Maguire or Lindelof, Casemiro, Greenwood, Sancho, Ericsson, and Hannibal. Completely forgot Hannibal even still played for us.
Completely forgot.
Yeah. Afternoon, Super Stephanie, says Richard. Steph's in the chat. Hello, Steph. Hope you're good. Saying 19 likes and 27 people watching. Please do smash that like button if you can. That'd be absolutely amazing. Richard saying, I heard we signed a striker on a 5-year contract. His name is Anthony Martial, and we are paying £500,000 a week. I don't think any more of them kind of deals would happen. I'm praying to God none of them kind of deals happen anymore. But yeah.
And we actually look into injury records of players before signing them.
Yeah, absolutely. I've just seen something actually on Jared Branthwaite. The feasibility of a move for Branthwaite to United could depend on whether Everton find themselves in a position where they need to sell before 30th of June to comply with the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. Very, very interested. I do think...
Once again, he is another shout. You can actually bring him in and probably fill in the gap left behind by Varane in this team.
Yeah.
Because I think one of Branthwaite or Onana will leave Everton this season. I think one of them actually leaves.
Yeah. Interesting times for Ineos and Summer and Co going forward. We shall leave it at that. We've been live 42 minutes, so that's a good time to kind of leave it at. Hope everyone's doing really, really well and having a great week so far. Like I said, keep an eye out for that members video. That's going to, I promise you, it's going to drop within the next 2 days. 115 charges, Man City. We dive right into it and don't miss nothing out. So do check that out if you remember. If you want to become a member, click the join button next to the notification bell or the link in the description and become a real Red Ultra. You get a badge next to your name, a chance to feature on the show, and exclusive content, of course. And to everyone who's in the chat and tunes in every single day, you're a set of legends. I always tell you, we appreciate you. With 7 subscribers off 5,300. So if you're watching this later on, please do click that subscribe button. It means more than you know. And me and Shreyas will see you guys in the next one, yeah? Take it easy, everyone. See you in a bit, guys.